Ever wonder what separates a pretty good idea from, a multi-billion-dollar empire? Well, it often comes down to two things: solid planning and smart decision making. Today, we're going to crack open the playbook of a company that absolutely nailed both and changed the world because of it.
I mean, just think about that for a second. It sounds completely bonkers, right? Like a recipe for absolute disaster. Why would any business abandon the very thing that made it a household name?
And yet, that is exactly what Netflix did. They were the undisputed kings of those little red DVD envelopes that showed up in your mailbox. But they made this massive, incredibly gutsy bet on a future that, let's be honest, hadn't even really arrived yet. And, well, we all know how that bet paid off.
So that's what we're doing today. We are going to deconstruct that pivot. We're going to lift the hood and really understand the strategy, the planning, and the thinking behind one of the most legendary business moves of our time. Now, the key word here is calculated. This wasn't some lucky guess. It wasn't just a hunch. Netflix was looking at the data, they were seeing internet speeds getting faster and faster, and they were paying attention to how we, the consumers, were starting to want our entertainment. They were planning for the future, not just milking the present. Which, of course, brings us to the million-dollar question. How on earth did they pull it off? How do you steer a giant, successful company away from its bread and butter and into totally uncharted waters? Well, it all comes down to two fundamental ideas. And here they are, planning and decision-making. Honestly, you can think of them as two sides of the very same coin. Planning is about setting the destination. That's the big picture vision. But decision-making? That's all about choosing the specific turns and roads you're going to take to actually get there. This framework, this is the secret sauce. Okay, so let's tackle the first piece of this puzzle, planning. The best way to think about it is like this. You're creating a map before you start a huge road trip. I mean, you wouldn't just get in the car and start driving aimlessly, right? A business can't either. So what do we really mean by planning? It's the process of setting that direction. It's about answering those huge questions. Who are we? Where are we trying to go? And what exactly do we want to accomplish down the road? This is ground zero. It's the foundation for everything else. And it works in layers, which is pretty brilliant. You've got strategic planning. That's the 30,000-foot view. That was Netflix saying our future is in streaming. Then you have tactical planning, which is the midterm stuff, like, okay, we need to get the rights to these movies. Then there's operational planning. That's the day-to-day grind for the engineers building the platform. And that last one, contingency planning, oh yeah, that's your what-if plan for when things inevitably go sideways. All right, so you've got your beautifully drawn map, but a map doesn't do you any good if it just sits in the glove compartment. You have to actually, drive the car. And that is where decision-making comes into play. It's the action that brings a plan to life. At its core, decision-making is really just that. It's the process of looking at all your options and choosing the best one to move you forward. Should we build this feature? Should we expand to that country? Every single choice you make either takes you a step closer to your destination or a step further away. But here's the thing, making good decisions is really, really hard. It's kind of part art, part science. You need solid information to start with, you need sharp analytical skills to make sense of it all, and then, at the end of the day, you need that sound judgment to make the final call. So, how do the best leaders make sure their choices are more science than just pure guesswork? Well, they use a whole toolkit of techniques that are designed to bring some real clarity to even the messiest problems. You've probably heard of some of these classics. A SWOT analysis, for example, helps you size up your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. A cost-benefit analysis is pretty much what it sounds like, weighing the good against the bad, and decision trees help you visualize where different choices might lead. These are the foundational tools of the trade. But here is the critical turning point. While all these classic tools are still super useful, in the fast-paced, complex digital world we live in now, just relying on them or on your gut instinct, well, that's just not going to cut it anymore. The real revolution, the thing that changed everything, is making decisions driven by data. Not just by what you think might happen, but by what the cold, hard information is telling you. This is how Netflix knew streaming was coming. They were looking at the data on internet adoption, on data storage costs. They saw the writing on the wall. And today, this whole idea is on steroids. Modern tools, a lot of them powered by AI and some seriously advanced analytics, let companies be incredibly precise. They help reduce that fog of uncertainty. It's how Netflix can predict what show you're going to want to binge next. They make smarter, faster choices because the data guides them.
Okay, so let's bring this all home. What does this all mean for you? Because this whole framework isn't just for giant corporations. You can apply this exact same thinking, planning a direction, and then making clear decisions to get there, to your career, to a personal project, to pretty much anything.
If you only remember one thing from all this, let it be this right here. Planning draws the map, and decision-making steers the ship. A brilliant plan with bad decisions goes absolutely nowhere. And a bunch of great decisions without a clear plan, that's just chaos. You need both, period.
And that leaves me with one final thought for you to chew on. Think about your own world, your career, your goals. Just like Netflix saw the giant wave of streaming coming from miles away, what's the next big wave on your horizon? And more importantly, what decisions are you making today to get ready for it?